Everyone. Today we will discuss Chapter 1 The French Revolution. In 1789, in the wake of early morning, the city of Paris was in a state of alarm. Rumors spread that the king would open fire upon the citizens. People started gathering and they started breaking a number of government buildings in search of arms. The commander of the Bastille was killed in the armed fight and the prisoners were released. People hated the Bastille as it stood for the despotic power of the king. People protested against the high price of bread. A new chain of events began which led to the execution of the king in France. Louis XVI in 1774 ascended the throne of France. Financial France was drained because of the war. France under Louis XVI helped the 13 American colonies to gain their independence from Britain. The French society was divided into three estates. First two enjoyed all privileges. First estate was clergy. Second estate was nobility. Third estate was big businessmen, merchants, court officials, peasants, artisans, landless laborers, servants, etc. Some within the third estate were rich and some were poor. The burden of financing activities of the state through taxes was borne by the third estate alone. Burden. The church too extracted its share of taxes called tithes from the peasants, and finally all members of the third estate had to pay taxes to the state. These included a direct tax called taille and a number of indirect taxes which were levied on articles of everyday consumption like salt or tobacco. Burden of financing activities of the state throughout taxes was borne by the third estate alone. The struggle to survive. Increase in population led to a rapid increase for food grains. Production of grains could not keep pace with the demand, due to which the price of bread rose rapidly. Due to low wages paid to the laborers, the gap between the poor and the rich widened. Things became worse whenever drought or hail reduced the harvest. The outbreak of the revolution. In France, the monarch didn't have the power to impose taxes. They had to call a meeting of the Estates General, a political body, to which the three estates sent their representatives to pass proposals for new taxes. Louis XVI, on 5 May 1789, called an assembly to pass proposals for new taxes. Representatives from the first and second estates were present, and the third estate was represented by its prosperous and educated members. According to the principle, each estate had each vote, but representatives from the third estate demanded each member would have one vote. The demand was rejected, so members of the third estate walked out to protest. They swore not to disperse till a constitution drafted for France that would limit the powers of the monarch. Rise of Jacobin Club. Political clubs were formed, and among them Jacobins became the most successful club in revolt of the Constitution of 1791. Members of the Jacobin Club included small shopkeepers, artisans such as shoemakers, pastry cooks, watchmakers, printers, as well as servants and daily wage workers. Jacobin members started wearing long striped trousers similar to those worn by the clock workers. These Jacobins were called the sans-culottes, literally meaning those without knee breeches. The Reign of Terror of Louis XVI. In 1793, the Reign of Terror began. Marie Antoinette led a parade of prominent and not so prominent citizens to their deaths. The guillotine, the new instrument of egalitarian justice, was put to work. Public executions were considered educational. Women were encouraged to sit and knit during trials and executions. The Revolutionary Tribunal ordered the execution of 2,400 people in Paris by July 1794. Across France, 30,000 people lost their lives. Thank you.